This class is all about how to use money as a Catholic, but we have to make sure we get one thing right straight away. What is money? In this video, we are going to discover the answer to that question, and you might be surprised at the answer. All right, so what is money? Take out some paper and a pencil. I'll give you 30 seconds and write the answer to that question. What is money? Write down whatever comes to mind. There's a spot in your worksheet on your workbook for this, so go for it. Otherwise, just grab a piece of paper and start writing now. All right, time's up. Maybe you wrote down dollar bills or quarters, or maybe freedom, or you use it to buy stuff, currency, right? Well, yes, that is money, but I've got 4 things in mind that you might not have written down on your list. Means of exchange, value assigner, prioritizer, and tool. Let's see what I'm talking about. At the simplest level, money is a means of exchange. That's just a fancy way to say that we use money as a way to trade for things. And it's really helpful. I mean, pretend your dad's job's making shoes. If he wants to get you dinner, he needs to find a farmer who has a cow who wants to sell it and needs a pair of shoes. Then your dad could trade a pair of shoes for that cow. Sounds tough. I mean, think of all the trades he need to make to get the rest of dinner. The potato, the broccoli, the butter and salt, the plates, the forks. Instead of all that, he can sell shoes to people for money and use that money to buy food to feed you. If your parents have a job at a company, they trade their hard work and time to that company for money. Then trade that money to stores for everything your family needs. If they own a business, they sell something or perform a service for people and trade that thing or service for money. Money also helps us assign value or help us understand how important something is to us. If I'm going to the store to buy a shirt, I might think, I don't know, right now a shirt's worth about 15 bucks to me. So I valued it at $15. Now, if I happen to see a shirt with my favorite sports team on it or a character from my favorite movie, well, I probably value it more and am more willing to pay a little more for it. Our use of money can also shape, reveal, and express our priorities. The choices we make when trading money, when spending it, help us understand and live out what's most important to us. We can take this idea of money by allowing us to value things and use it to help us see our priorities or the value we place on things in relation to the value we place on others. If you look at how you've spent money over the last month or so, you could see that your spending looks like this. And if we categorize your spending, we can see that you've spent more money on fast food and movies than clothes. Perhaps eating tasty food and watching movies, maybe while hanging out with friends, is more important to you than making sure you're wearing the latest styles. And if you look at the way your friend has spent their money, you might see this. And we can see that your friend also spends more on movies than clothes. But if we look at both of your spending together, we can see that your friend might value movies more than you do since they spent more of their money on it than you did. And they seem to prefer books to video games. If you look at your own spending, you might learn something about yourself. The way you spend money might surprise you. And if your spending looks different than how you had hoped, well, you have the chance to change it. By looking back and seeing where our money went, we can understand something about our priorities. By taking that knowledge and changing our behavior moving forward, we can help form our priorities and make sure that we live our lives and spend our money in a way that lines up with what we hold most important. If you're like me, you like candy and books and Jesus. Now, sometimes I might not have enough money to buy candy and a book and give some money to Jesus. So I have to figure out which of these are more important to me. So maybe this week, I skip the candy so I can get a book and put some money in the collection this week, because those are the most important things to me. By having a plan and moving forward with it, I can set my priorities and use my money the way I want to. A good steward always makes sure that there's enough money for the most important things first. A good what? A good steward. A steward is like a servant who's been put in charge of something. Their job is to take care of that thing for the master. You may have heard that word before when reading the Bible or during the readings at Mass. Jesus tells a few stories about stewards in the Bible. We'll get to one of those in a little bit. And some counts have the number of Bible verses about money and possessions to be at over 2,000, more than almost any other subject. One reason that money is super important is that God likes to teach us lessons using money examples. It's a teaching tool. These lessons are about money, yes, but also about how to be good Catholics and Christian disciples. I want you to remember this. If we don't understand money like God does, we miss out on the lessons he's trying to teach us when he uses money examples, which is a lot. We'll dive into one of those examples in another lesson, but now remember that God likes to use money to teach us other things. So we've learned that money is a means of exchange, a way to assign value or show how important something is to us, a way to understand and live out our priorities, and a tool that God uses to teach us lessons. But here's a question for you. Is money bad or good? What do you think? Is money bad or is money good? I'll give you 2 minutes. Use one to write down why money might be bad, and the next to write down why money might be good. Ready? Go. All right, 2 minutes is up. I've got some good ideas on my paper, and I'm guessing you do too. Let's use our ideas, and maybe a few more, to build a case for why money might be good or bad. Here's my plan of what we'll do. The way we'll figure it out is by looking at our ideas and Catholic teachings about money. If we look at the Bible and what the saints have said and official teachings from the church, we'll find some evidence. And if money is bad, we should find lots of proof that it is bad and none that says it's good. And if it's good, we should find lots of proof that say it's good and none that say it's bad. First, let's see if money's bad. Well, reasons we might think money is bad could include, well, I've seen plenty of people and heard about plenty more doing bad things for money. Money, or not having it, can really stress us out. Maybe we've seen some adults arguing about money. We've argued about it ourselves. And the Bible says, the love of money is the root of all evil. Blessed are the poor in spirit, and man cannot serve God and mammon, a fancy Bible word for money. And we see a lot of saints like St. Francis of Assisi, who came from a very rich family and give up everything he had to become poor. I mean, even Jesus was poor. He was born in a stable. His first crib was a feeding trough. If Jesus didn't have a lot of money, is that because money is bad? This does seem like a lot of proof that money might be bad. But remember, we need to not only find things saying it's bad, but also need to find nothing that says it's good. But I've got some stuff written down on my list. I mean, I'm happy when I get a birthday card from grandma with money in it. We use money to buy the things we need: food, clothing, other necessities of life. And I can use my money to help people, help give them food or shelter, easily send resources to people who need them after a disaster. I mean, and the church teaches that a just wage is the legitimate fruit of work. You should be able to get paid a fair amount for working, paid in money. And the Bible says that people who are rich with money should do good deeds and be rich with them, liberal and generous, not just get rid of all the money. It also says the wise man saves for the future. And not all saints gave up all their money. St. Catherine Drexel used her family fortune to start a religious order and build schools. Louis and Zélie Martin, they're saints. And St. Teresa's parents, they owned a business. They made money. And they're saints, canonized saints. So, we've got a lot of things saying that money can be bad, and a lot of things saying that money can be good. But it can't be both. Can it? Can it? Is it possible for something to be both good and bad? Let me think. What about a broom? Hear me out. A broom is good. It helps you clean up the house. And when you take the broom and sweep the floor to help your parents clean, well, a broom is a pretty good thing. But what if you took that broom and hit your brother or sister with it? Seems like a bad thing. But the broom, you were just good. No, it's bad? How is that possible? Let me see. Wait. Each time, the broom was the same, but what we did with it, sweep the floor, hit our sibling, was different. So it's what we do with something that can make it good or bad. It's the same with money. Yeah, really. I could save up my money and buy a really cool toy for my sister for her birthday. That's a good way to use money. Or I could use my money to buy a ton of junk food and eat it all and feel terrible. That would be a bad way to use money. Money isn't good or bad all on its own. How we use or think about money is good or bad. And through this class, we're going to learn all about how to think about and use money in good ways and avoid the bad ones. So let's remember what money is and what it helps us do. It's a means of exchange. It makes it easy to trade for things we need and want. It's a way to assign value. It makes it easy to show how important something is to us. It's a way to understand and live our priorities. Our money choices can help us live the way we want to. And it's a tool God uses to teach us. We learn lessons about money, but about many other lessons in life too. So go through the exercises in your workbook. You'll review some of the ideas in the lesson and dive deeper into the nature of money. When you're done with that, I'll see you in the next lesson.